All right, so picture this. You wake up on a Saturday morning, drive 5 minutes, and you are on a boat on Lake Norman. Then Saturday, you grab coffee in a walkable outdoor village, and then lunch at a local restaurant, and you are back home before noon. This is just a normal weekend in Huntersville, North Carolina. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what it costs to live that life, every dollar, when it comes to housing, taxes, schools, commute times, and daily expenses. All of it broken down so you know what you're really signing up for before you make that decision. And as always, I'm Daniel Morabel. I have been a Charlotte area real estate agent for years, and Huntersville is one of those markets I get asked about more than almost any other suburb up here on the lake. So let's get into the real numbers. All right, before we get into the money, let me give you a quick snapshot of what Huntersville actually is right now. And according to the World Population Review, Huntersville is a 2026 population of just under 70,000 people and has grown 13% since the 2020 census alone. But here is the number that really tells you something. This town had only 431 people back in 1890, then 25,000 people by the end of 2000, and almost 70,000 people today. That kind of growth does not happen by accident. People here are choosing Huntersville specifically, and once you understand what the place offers, it makes complete sense. The median household income here is $120,000 a year, according to the World Population Review, citing U.S. Census Bureau data, which is about 28% higher than Mecklenburg County average, which is Charlotte. So, who lives here? People like working professionals, families, and dual income households. People who have done their research and decided that Huntersville gives them the best combination of lifestyle and value in the entire Charlotte metro. Let's talk about housing first, because this is where most people either get excited or pump the brakes. And I'm going to be straight with you. Huntersville is not the cheapest suburb in this market, to be honest. According to our MLS, the average home value of Huntersville is around $498,000. That's up 2.8% over the last year. Now, Zillow's data from Q1 2026 puts the median household price around $460,000 to $568,000, depending on the area and time frame that you're purchasing. And homes have been sitting on the market for roughly 60 days, which is actually good news for buyers because that gives you time to negotiate and do your homework. Now let me put that number in context, because $460,000 to $500,000 in Huntersville is very different from $460,000 and $500,000 in other parts of the Charlotte market. For that price point here, you're typically looking at a 4-bedroom home and 2-car garage and a real backyard, in a master planned community with a pool, walking trails, and amenities, sitting 12 miles from uptown Charlotte with Lake Norman access basically in your backyard. Now, if you want to get into the lower end, there are townhome options starting in the mid 300s as well, and some smaller single family homes in certain neighborhoods under $400,000. Now, on the luxury side, waterfront properties on Lake Norman start around $2.35 million, according to the market data on our MLS. So that is a completely separate conversation if lake frontage is your priority. One thing I want to flag to new construction buyers specifically, Huntersville and the surrounding area still have active builder communities. And if you are walking into a builder sales office, make sure you have your own agent with you. That on-site agent works for the buyer, not for you. And having representation on your side costs you almost all the time nothing extra as a buyer. So if you have questions about that process, more info is in the description and I'm happy to walk you through it. Now stay with me because coming up, I'm going to break down your actual monthly budget in Huntersville, North Carolina. And there is one cost most people forget to factor in that can catch you off guard if you're not careful. Let's talk about what it actually costs to live here day to day, because the mortgage payment is just one piece of the picture. And according to multiple cost of living sources, Huntersville overall cost of living runs about 10% above the national average and about 20% above the North Carolina state average. Now, before the number scares you off, here is an important context. Healthcare and utilities in Huntersville actually come in below average, so you save money there. The premium you pay is primarily for housing and transportation, which is the same story for almost any high-demand suburb near a major city. On property taxes, Mecklenburg County property tax rate is about 1.05%. So to put that into perspective, on a $475,000 home, you're looking at roughly about $5,000 a year on property taxes, or about $415 approximately dollars a month added to your housing costs. That is a number most buyers forget to budget for, so factor that in early. Now, HOA fees in Huntersville vary significantly by neighborhood. Most standard communities run between $200 and $500 per quarter, but some more amenity-heavy neighborhoods and lakefront communities can run higher. So before you fall in love with a specific house, always ask what the HOA covers and what it costs. That's what I do to all my customers before they even make an offer, because that number can move your monthly budget and payment more than people expected. So for renters, the average monthly rental cost in Huntersville runs about $1,400 to about $1,800, depending on size and location, of course, with areas close to Birkdale Village and Lake Norman commanding the higher end of that range, understandably. All right, so let's talk about what you actually are getting for your money, because the cost of living numbers only tell you part of the story. Birkdale Village is the heart of Huntersville lifestyle scene, and is genuinely one of the best outdoor mixed-use districts in the Charlotte suburb area. Walkable restaurants, shops, a movie theater, and seasonal events. That kind of place you actually want to spend time rather than just drive past. Some of the best restaurants in the area are right here. And the village hosts community events throughout the whole year that bring people together in a way most suburbs just do not. Now, beyond Birkdale, Lake Norman is the big one. At 520 miles of shoreline, Lake Norman is the largest man-made lake in North Carolina. And Huntersville sits right on the southern end. Boating, kayaking, paddleboarding, fishing, waterfront dining, all these things are right there in Lake Norman. And unlike a vacation lake home somewhere far away, this is in your backyard every single weekend. For families specifically, Discovery Place Kids is a hands-on children's museum right here in Huntersville. One of those places where your kids want to go back every single week. The Carolina Renaissance Festival runs on fall weekends and draws people from all over the region. And Joe Gibbs Racing, one of the most successful teams in NASCAR history, is headquartered right here in Huntersville, North Carolina. And not to mention, Luke Combs grew up here as well. And several NASCAR drivers actually call this place home. So yeah, Huntersville has that kind of energy. So schools are a big part of why families choose Huntersville. So let me give you the real picture. Huntersville is served by Charlotte Mecklenburg schools. And the schools up here in the northern part of the district are genuinely well regarded. Some of the standout names include Rowe High School and Cornelius, which serves parts of Huntersville. Lake Norman Charter School, which is ranked 11th in the state according to US News, and Huntersville Elementary, which has consistently earned strong marks from the community. Over 31% of Huntersville population is under the age of 18, which tells you that this is a deeply family-oriented community, and the schools reflect that. Now, I always tell my buyers, school zoning in this area depends entirely on which street you are on, not just which town. So before you make an offer on a specific home, confirm the school zone because it can vary block to block. And that is something I help clients navigate before they ever even go under contract. All right, so the commute, which is very important to certain people, especially me. Huntersville sits about 14 miles north of uptown Charlotte on I-77. And on a normal day outside of rush hour, you're looking at about 15 to 25 minutes. Now during peak morning and afternoon rush hours, that can stretch to about 35 to 45 minutes plus, depending on where you are going and which exit you use. The good news is that I-77 has express toll lanes in this corridor, which give you an option to pay to skip the backup in the worst traffic days. Now that's something that sets Huntersville apart from some of the other suburbs that do not have that option. If you work in the University City area, Northlake, or anywhere along the I-77 corridor heading north, your commute can actually be quite short. And with hybrid and remote work being so common now, a lot of my clients here are doing that uptown drive maybe 2 or 3 days a week at most, which means, Huntersville is very livable. All right, so let me give you the real pros and cons, because this is where I think I actually add value for you. So the pros are real and they are significant. The median household income in Huntersville is $120,000 in this community, which means you are surrounded by working professionals who invest in their homes and in their neighborhoods. And that shows up with how well maintained and how safe the area is. Now ranked at 8th safest city in North Carolina, with a crime rate of about 29% below the national average according to local data, Huntersville is genuinely one of the safer suburban communities in this market. The Lake Norman lifestyle access, the Birkdale village scene, and the strong schools and Charlotte proximity, that combination at a price point that is still significantly below what you would pay in a comparable suburb in other major metros is genuinely hard to beat. Now, the honest cons, because everything has a con, the cost of living runs 10% above the national average, which means you need to budget carefully, especially when you factor in property taxes, HOA fees, and slightly higher price point for housing. The rapid growth has created some real traffic pressures in certain corridors, right? Some residents in the community forums have noted that the school system is feeling that population growth in terms of crowding in the school. And if you are coming from a city that you want a walkable restaurant scene and lots of independent local dining options, most of Huntersville outside of Birkdale is going to feel more like a chain restaurant and strip mall than you might want. And this is just an honest reality, and it's worth knowing before you move here. Here are my bottom line after working in this market for years. Huntersville is one of the best options in the entire Charlotte metro for families who want the full package. Great schools, lake access, a real sense of community, and close enough to Charlotte that you never feel out of the city, really. The people who moved here 5 to 10 years ago, when prices were lower, are sitting in real equity right now, and they love where they live. And the people buying here today, at current prices of course, are still making a decision that is backed by strong long-term fundamentals. So, if Huntersville sounds like it might be your spot, I would love to help you figure out whether it actually makes sense for you in your specific situation. Now, before you go, I want to say something real quick. I know there's a lot of information out there about moving to the Charlotte area, and it can get overwhelming fast. And this is exactly why I do these videos, to cut through all of it and give you something that you can actually use. And if Huntersville is on your radar, or if you are still trying to figure out which suburb in the market makes the most sense for you and your family and your budget, that is literally what I do every single week. Feel free to shoot me a message or grab a spot in my calendar through the link in my description. 15 minutes, no pitch, no pressure, I promise. Just a real conversation where I actually listen to what you are looking for and tell you honestly whether Huntersville, North Carolina, or somewhere else in the market is the right fit for you and your family. I've helped buyers and sellers across the entire metro for years, and the best calls I get are those ones that go something like this. Hey Dan, I don't even know where to start. Or, hey, can you help me figure this out? That is the call I want from you. Link is right below. And if the video helped you in any way, please hit the subscribe button because I do this every single week for every suburb in this market. And hit that like button so more people who are in need of this information can actually find it. So, like always, I really appreciate you watching this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.